Ray McNiece. The Revenge of Cleveland, a menu against Nouvelle cuisine. At a restaurant a la Arboretum in a trendy alley back of Harvard Square, I sit down to a platter of minimalist philosophy and wait for more. When none comes, I realize this is the entree, and it hits me. This will cost. 3 slivers of salmon, looking for the life of them like Play-Doh cutouts, a spot of goose liver pâté nudged under a scrap of spinach grown probably in a petri dish, a dash of tortellinis, that disgrace to pasta, an upscale garnish of designer legumes, and, existentially enough, a single olive, sans pimento. The whole platter could be a display of new wave jewelry. Enough of this less is more. More is more. And I want some. Let's start with dumpling soup, the aroma buoyed by globules of chicken fat, the 100 suns that never shine on gray Cleveland. Bring on the pierogies, and put a tub of Cheese Whiz, made from artificial imitation processed cheese food at one elbow, and at the other a mound of sauerkraut, steaming like the Cuyahoga, stirred by a scow on a spring morning. Egg noodles, too, rolled and cut and ladled by my heavy Slovenian great-aunts. Pumpernickel smeared with lard. Give me a belly full of kielbasa-inspired indigestion any day, a pile that makes you spout, "Leon Mayakovsky," and let no mouth cry hold, enough. To top it off, a quivering dollop of pink Jell-O salad straight from the Stuckies off the Western Pike, a roll of patizza, all frothed with non-dairy whip. Enough of this lightweight stuff that lets you off to play squash or the stocks. I want a heap of carbohydrates you can't move the rest of the afternoon. Chowed down in a bar with the Browns game blaring. A meal as profound and murky as an immigrant cathedral. As bland and fulfilling as a busload of Slovenians coming home from polka varieties, dreaming of Sunday dinner. Ray McNiece. Grandfather's Breath from the Bone Orchard Conga. You work. You work. You work, buddy. Work. Word of immigrant get-ahead grind I hear huffing through me. My grandfather's breath, when he'd come in from Saturday, keep busy chores, fending up a calloused palm to stop me from helping him doubled over under 35 years a machine repairman. In the same shop, making ball bearings making everything run smoother. He busted butt for overtime pay, down payment on a little box of his own. Himself a refugee of the European economy, washed ashore after the war to end all wars. Cheap labor for the winners. I hear his youth plodding through the fields above Srednevas, the train that lurched and stuttered, that took him to the boat where he heave-hoed consumptive sisters, 1, 2, overboard. To the factory smoke-choked streets of Cleveland, where he scuffled along, coughing out chunks of broken English, just to make it to Saturday afternoon balinsa. This is how the world turns, buddy. You work hard. Practice. But mostly I hear how he'd catch what was left of his breath when he'd come in from those Saturday chores, cleaning the cage, the last task of his day off, and letting Snowball, canary like the ones once used to test coal mines for poison air, flap clumsily free around the living room, crapping on the plastic-covered Davenport and easy chair they only sat in twice a year. And I hear you, grandfather, when you took me down the cool basement steps to find out what was wrong. Come on, Snowball. Fly! Come on! Fly! The bird splayed out there on the same linoleum where they found you, next to your iron lung, where Grandma mopped for weeks afterwards, pointing with arthritic fingers. See, that's where he fell and bumped his head. See the specks of blood? She can't work out. One fine morning when my work is done, I'm gonna fly away home. Fly away home. Oh, fly away home. One fine morning when my work is done, I'm gonna fly away home. Come on, Snowball. Fly. Fly. Ray McNiece, The Bridge, Cleveland, for Hart Crane, from Love Song for Cleveland. Sitting at center span, breathing panorama from Detroit Superior Bridge between east and west sides of Cleveland, between old border of United States and Indian territories, watching autumn sun sinking over Lake Erie like a battered Brown's helmet, like the last tomato in an urban garden, like the last ingot of molten steel fresh from rollers sizzling down into cold cobalt wave horizon. Last rays illuminating blue-girdered underside of Shoreway Bridge, highlighting Berea sandstone blocks of old Superior Viaduct, like Roman runes festooned with Gilded Age rails running nowhere now. And igniting this very nickel-steel superstructure, rivets like shadowy grizzle of grandfather's mill worker's haggard face, girder I-beam spine bending, but still holding this city's once mighty dreams aloft. I lean against rivets digging into my back, that bit of steel in every Clevelander, and revel in bygone power of sprawling mills, turned dinosaur graveyards, blackened smokestack nostrils empty. Revel also in these dozen bridges still spanning Cuyahoga, once burning, now flowing green again. Cleveland's blast furnace heart still smoldering upriver. The wall of red brick warehouses glows along the east bank, now condos. Glass and metal high-rise skyline shines in this last light. And the terminal tower, once second tallest in the world, gazes to the four corners of the forest city, under inauspicious skies bound to go gray, winter in the back of every Clevelander's mind. That curtain of rain into sleet, into snow, making the lake, the city, the sky one continuous pall, broken up now by this sundown dazzle. Seagull wings flash through dusk as they wheel the flats over mountains of gravel, mountains of concrete rubble for lake breakwall, mountains of salt like ruined pyramids. They call and circle higher over the last bank skyscraper, white crest glowing in the haze, vaults empty. In the hoods beyond, Cleveland closes foreclosed eyes, grins busted picket fence teeth on cracked corner streets, as ghosts of post-war prosperity shoppers downtown scuffle like weathered newspaper want ads stuck on chain-link fence around gutted department stores. The poor bomb hit here first. We're finally number one in poverty, worse even than Motown's potholes, vacant lots, and burnt-out hulks. But Cleveland still stands, even on rusty langs, a tough town full of hard luck and broken dreams, where workers get up on cold gray mornings and do it all over again. Not a plum, unless it's a bruise from bumping into some bolted-down machine too big to be moved. No, not a plum, unless it's Slivovich, to take the edge of another shift. You're not on your knees, Cleveland. Never. You're still standing astride the Cuyahoga from Carter Street lift bridge that carries every train from the mid-Atlantic westward, from Shorewave Bridge overlaid on ancient Great Lakes game trail stretching from Oswego to Duluth, from Old Superior Viaduct, Iron Horse Bridge, foundation built upon Erie Indian trading camps, from Baltimore and Ohio Jackknife Bridge, now and forever prophetically pointing skyward through unsmogged skies like the ossified finger of a mill worker showing where the jobs went. And from this Veterans Memorial Bridge, when finished the largest steel and concrete bridge in the world, legs sunk 60 feet in clay, arch rising 196 feet above the river and stretching nearly a mile, once the busiest trafficked in America, this nexus between east and west, over a river connecting north and south, going back to Adena people, who traded as far as Mexico, who built mounds where Euclid meets East Ninth, not far from where the only Indians left play baseball at Progressive Field. Just below where I stand, near Lorenzo Carter's cabin, the gateless Erie Canal lock yawns, telling legends when rivers were roads, when New York came to Chicago by way of the Hudson, the Allegheny, and Lake Erie to the Cuyahoga, then turned south to join with the Scioto at Portsmouth, and from the Ohio to the Mississippi, to New Orleans, to the Gulf, where Hart Crane's own swan song ended. One arc synoptic of all tides below, their labyrinth mouths of history pouring reply. I'm hearing his reply this evening, completed in one vibrant breath-made cry. As he walked this bridge, broke again and back from New York City, sucking on a life-saver candy maybe his daddy invented, when Industrial Revolution flames scorched Cleveland's night, when Minnesota ore married Appalachian coal to forge steel that built the world, including this and his praised Brooklyn Bridge. Could he smell the gasoline Rockefeller poured directly into the Cuyahoga before he finally figured how to start the global petro-fuel economy from this valley? Cleveland's crossroads of America, through the heart of it all, Ohio. Freeway arteries now clogged at Dead Man's Curve. Not even the winged titans on the Hope Memorial Bridge, the four guardians of traffic who cradle a wagon, a train, a gas tanker truck, a luxury car, can lift us out of this jam of progress now. For further upriver, the I-71, I-90 freeway bridge, stanchions straining, crumbles into the 21st century decline of the American empire. But Cleveland still stands, as I stand tonight, on the backs of all those workers, hearing Glenn Schwartz's electric blues kick in over heavy metal swinging bridges singing below. Battleship gray RTA bridge rattle rasping silver cars over rusty tracks, Columbus Avenue lift bridge lowering slowly, sinking, creaking like Cleveland itself settling solidly, singing its horn to Center Street swing bridge that honks back to let a barge pass. Cleveland rocks, carrying a load of gravel, battered hull plowing the flow like old hard-on of industrial age, blowing its own horn, bound for St. Lawrence Seaway, for North Sea and beyond, to the mouths of the seven seas that carried all the immigrant voices to Cleveland's shores, that join the breath that sings the strength and breadth of this bridge. Chorusing, lake effect breezes, swirling concrete catacomb ribs of old subway line below, and whistling cold blues of girders above, chorusing echoes of paddles barking dugout canoes through the place of the jawbone, to the muddy mouth of the crooked river. Chorusing blast furnaces roar and shift whistles 24/7 with hissing smokestack sift and working men coughing, knocking back taste of Cleveland shots. 1 part road salt, 1 part cinder grit, 1 part fly ash, 1 part stale sweat. Chorusing also that burning river combustion whoosh, signal flare catching attention of the entire nation and birthing green leaf flags of Earth Day fluttering. Chorusing also snoring veterans from Nam and Desert Storm who sleep in alcoves under this Veterans Memorial Bridge. Chorusing RTA bus rumble over Ice Age potholes on Detroit, slapping down ill-fitting manhole covers once forged right here. Chorusing piston-missing beaters belching smoke and legs of hood kids pedaling bikes towards downtown, rapping staccato, Bone Thug style. Chorusing kids bouncing balled basketball across the bridge, tossing it into evening sky, last glimpse of the sun. Chorusing grumble of laid-off worker kicking crusty, rusted C-clamp that once held something in this city together, across the hieroglyphs of cracked sidewalk, and chorusing with the flutter of a single flake of rust drifting down and slipping into Cuyahoga's legato lullaby, merging with the lives and loves and losses of Clevelanders, crossing from then into now across this very bridge. Ray McNiece, Love Song for Cleveland, from the book Love Song for Cleveland. Rusty guitar strings plucked by worn-down, grimy ridge factory fingers greasy with city chicken twang out this tune, like northbound train chugging up from Alabama red clay sharecropper days and white sheet nights, don't forget, picking up speed lickety-split, kicking into rockabilly freeway, go, man, go, from them hills and hollers of west by God, rocking up Route 77 and 71 before crashing beat on North Collinwood Lakeshore Boulevard back porch, my old man, blowing summer harmonica breeze, spitting gritty soot from the flats. This love song for Cleveland could easily be his blues. That same Labor Day off breeze carries Slovenian accordion beer barrel polkas yodeled through Rahar's Hall, Compabasso lullabies wheezing down Murray Hill, bohunk old Brooklyn shadow of the steel mill waltzes, and forlorn concertina airs recalling Ackle Island. The fugue of all those tunes spreading out this evening, from western firelands eastward to Appalachian foothills, from the flats to the heights and all those blues between, and settling over carpback burnished sunset across Lake Erie. The gloaming pierced by the eerie yowls of panthers that once lurked through the forest city when it was still a forest, where wolf howls echoed above ridges, elk-buffalo game trail that ran just the other side of East Shore Way Hurry, and screeching coal train wheels on rusty tracks, the same song lines the Erie tribe followed, to Cuyahoga's swampy mouth. Can you hear their campfire hunting chants? Can you hear Lorenzo Carter's Under the Hill Boys swatting sing-song malarial flies and wheedling brandy-fueled fiddle tunes that skirl into navvies' ditties as they dug the Erie Canal at the foot of Superior Avenue? That tune merging with shanty Irish rowdy dowdlings rowed back from Whiskey Island, up Collision Bend way, sodden gut-string reveries for the old sod. This love song for Cleveland could easily be their blues. Blasted by 1955 lake boat freighter horn, clearing the dirty air above swinging bridges into swirling seagull calls from slag heaps, rusty red pellets glowing, Cleveland's pot of gold hidden under sulphurous clouds of industrial revolution. At one point, 15 tons of stuff per year was dropped here, on 9th Street docks where Gramps stevedored, fresh off the boat from Slovenia after the First World War, unloading Masabe Range iron ore forged into steel that built this city, this country, hell, the whole world, from safety pins to I-beams to the very hull of that freighter. Listen to the din of Titan mills whistling shifts. Silence now. Smelteries not even smoldering, rollers still. Dinosaur hulks groaning in the wind, collapsing into piles of rust, or blowtorch cut up and sold to China. Shanghaied, cursed the last Union dock men into their boiler makers. Creased, hard-working, hard-drinking faces laughing off lacquered treatment bar surface, reflecting bowling ball trophies, golden as the sun nobody sees for months on end. Soon their blast furnace guffaws will also fall silent. But this love song for Cleveland could easily be those blues. Ghosting along once empty Euclid Avenue corridor, past bustling post-war prosperity chatter, through May Company, Halley's, the arcade, before picking up squeal of St. Paddy's Day bagpipes on cold March wind, catching that hip-hop beat at the intersection of East 55th Street and rapping all the way to Severance Hall's violins, pulling as sourful as Warsaw Ghetto Kaddish, then wending up Cedar Hill, where a Polish clarinetist from Parma plays Duke Ellington's Single Petal from a Rose in an Irish emigre jazz club, until it arpeggiates down Mayfield Road to Little Italy, where old paisans strum mandolins as beautifully mournful as the Virgin Mary, pinned with dollars, parading the feast of the Assumption, before finally wafting out again from the shores of Euclid Beach Park, where my parents first met and kissed, dancing in the pavilion to big band swing. I listen now, just as a cold front comes rolling in over the waves, as this chorus of muted steel cellos drones the thousand shades of gray that pall all over Cleveland, so gray it's the blues. Gray of winter's dead snow, sooty piles that line streets from Kinsman to Ohio City, gray of the aluminum shovel that sits by the front door year-round, bleached gray of beer can crushed during some hot night porch-sittin' late-inning Indians' loss, and tossed into unshorn hedges as bare gray as tree line on opening day. Gray faces of tract houses from Euclid to Garfield to Lakewood, glowing by dawn's first light, set, determined to meet another day. Gray of cinder block coal bins along Train Street in Tremont. Gray of 55-gallon drum of rainwater on the back of a gunmetal pickup, stuck with 4 flat elephant skin tires beside dull steel corrugated warehouse off concrete potholed Waterloo Avenue. Gray stink of shad kill along Edgewater Beach. Gray when driving down the shoreway so you can't tell the difference between the road, the lake, and the sky. If Picasso had a gray period, Cleveland would be it. Gray of Harvey Picard's hangdog face staring into empty file cabinet before walking to dingy bus rattling through Cleveland Heights twilight. Gray of Daniel Thompson's Whitman-esque beard as he harangues the specter of Rockefeller in the empty tomb in Lakeview. Gray of the gray-haired, mustached babushkas of Slavic Village. Gray of the frost on the lawns of Shaker Heights. Gray of Terminal Tower in the fog. Gray whirl of pigeons rising from Public Square, blending with evening. Gray summer thunderheads rolling in off the lake, giving way to blue sky, high summer July day. Come March and the long gray march of winter, you'll be on your knees begging for that day. Gray skyline in winter that still calls me home to him all these penumbras. Gray of the last plume from the last stack of the last plant still burning in the flats, rising like the ghosts of all those mill workers. And though there is no sun, this flame burns on. There's a burning river running through my rusty heart. There's a burning river running through my rusty heart. This love song for Cleveland could easily be those blues. So gray, gotta be the blues. Ray McNiece, Oh Say Can You See, from the book The Road That Carried Me Here. Oh, say can you see this country free of bigotry, hostility, incivility, from sea to shining TV? The tribes are picking up sides, from Syria to the West Bank to Cleveland. And there's nowhere left to hide for the children of the dream, walking hand in hand down the black and white wound running across this land. What's wrong with this picture? Can you find the human being shot on this screen? Being shot on this screen. He deserved it. Payback happens. What goes around comes around, said the eye for an eye blind men. But the rioting is on the wall. Mr. President, you have a call on the white courtesy phone. It's the blanks' fault. The blanks started it. You know how they are. They don't really belong here. So we sell ourselves on talk shows like bugs shaken in a jar, and the finger of blame points around in an angry trigger circle, 'cause we're all living in the same hood now, buying into Babylonian hype. Mad Ave went to bed with Hollywood, raised a little family of stereotypes. Hey, can you see somebody looks just like me peering out from the leaves of your family tree, rooted in Mother Africa? We are the children of the dream who wandered our separate ways a long time gone, gathered together here again today. Remember? Can we call ourselves brothers, sisters? What color was the hand raised against Abel after it fell? How will we ever wipe the slate clean when the powers that be sell us whitewash, sell us blackball, so we can paint ourselves into our own little corners, the mirrors of our monsters? Can you see the eyes of a sister, a brother, a mother, a father, behind the masks of your worst nightmares? Oh, say can you see through the lies that we are not us, that we are always us versus us? And where is justice? Or is it just us? We are the children of the dream, wandering the desert of America through the smoke from the fire next time come home, walking hand in hand down the black and white wound running across this land, healed over with each step we take together. Oh, say, can you see the person walking next to you?